JJ Redick was absolutely pissed off after yesterday's loss against the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't blame him, to be honest with you guys.
JJ, anything specific stand out about how the game kind of started and you weren't able to get going as a team?
Yeah, just not a lot to like tonight. I realized that in the first 2 minutes of the game.
What did you see in those first 2 minutes?
Nothing.
Next coach.
Truth be told, I do not think the Lakers lost this game because the Hawks are better. I think the Lakers lost this game because the effort wasn't there, the energy wasn't there. You could just feel it right from the start of that game yesterday. The Lakers just did not look good, and we're at the point now where the Lakers are going to have to figure it out. The schedule does not get easier as you go forward. Arguably the best team in the NBA in OKC on Wednesday is not going to get easier, and then you have a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. The Lakers could easily, if they play like the way they played last night, they could lose the rest of these games easily. And JJ Redick kind of talked about this. He said within the first 2 minutes of the game, I knew it was going to be one of those type of games. And I felt the same way yesterday. Pretty much from the start, right? It just did not look good. The Hawks came out. They're flying out there, right? They were like explosive. They're running downhill. They're getting those points. The Hawks want to play fast. They want to play quick, and the Lakers kind of the opposite. Lakers don't want to play fast and quick. The Lakers want to slow things down. They want to play. They want to play half-court basketball. Right? That's what the Lakers want to do. And these are the type of games where you could lose if you don't get yourself in position. If you don't get back on the defensive side, the Hawks, they're one of the best fast break teams. They're going to score quick points. And yesterday, the Lakers kind of saw that happen. The Lakers ended up going down, I believe, 14 points going into halftime. And the Hawks just had the momentum the entire first half. The Lakers tried getting sparks. It just did not work. And of course, I would blame the Lakers' turnovers. Luka had 5, DeAndre Ayton had 3. And keep in mind, these guys really did not play a whole lot in the second half. They sat out for most of the second half. To me, the Lakers really, really, really struggled yesterday. And they had 10 first half turnovers. Now, I do think that was the difference in this game. 10 first half turnovers. The Hawks took advantage of those 10 turnovers. The Hawks themselves only had 11 total over the course of the game yesterday. So there were, the differential of the turnovers was 8 favoring the Hawks. To me, that's a huge difference. 8 turnovers leads easily into 10, 12 points, and that's the difference in this game. Could have been a lot closer had the Lakers not had those turnovers. Another thing to kind of note, there was a moment in that game yesterday where I felt like the Lakers were kind of coming back. It was in the third quarter, and the Lakers, at some point, the height of the bad, they're down 16 points. I believe they made it a 9-point game at some point. The momentum started to favor the Lakers a little bit, and you can kind of see from the Hawks' perspective that, hey, they're starting to kind of come back. And out of nowhere, it's an 11-point game. The Hawks have a turnover. Marcus Smart making a very, very, very incredible defensive play. Gets the ball to Luka, and out of nowhere, he runs right into DeAndre Ayton. I don't even know what the hell Ayton, it's not on Ayton, it's not on Luka to have this turnover, but not only do you turn the ball over, but then the Hawks hit a 3-pointer. It was an 11-point game. Maybe you score, make it an 8-point game potentially. Instead, it's 3 points the other way. It's a 5 to 6 point swing essentially for the Lakers. But the biggest swing was the momentum. The Hawks fans get into it, and you can just feel it. And I believe within the next 2 to 3 minutes, the Lakers ended up just pulling their starters, never kind of got back to it. Lakers never even went back to their starters. And the unfortunate thing with this entire game against the Hawks was the fact that they didn't have Porzingis. They didn't have Trae Young, which, Trae Young's not surprising because he hasn't really played in, I think it's like his 5th game that he's missed. They didn't have Porzingis. They didn't have Jalen Johnson. To me, Johnson's a very, very, very good basketball player. I think he's one of the better players in the NBA. They didn't have Alexander Walker. They didn't have some of the other guys that play legit minutes for this team. But, you have guys that are bench players putting up 20-plus points against the Lakers. To me, the defensive effort was not there. Too many turnovers. Efficiency was not great. The Lakers shot 45% from the field goal percentage. And I think another issue with the Lakers yesterday was there just wasn't enough movement on the offensive side. A lot of one-on-one type of plays. They had 11 assists as opposed to the Hawks had 21 assists in the first half specifically. Lakers have to play a better game Also, I just want to kind of throw it out there. I've seen some people talk about Nick Smith. He was 1 of 8 yesterday. I think Smith he is the type of player he is. He's still developing. Bronny James had arguably the best game of his career yesterday. And I know a lot of it really doesn't count, right? But he was 4 of 6. He had 9 points, which is pretty good. He had a steal. He had 2 assists. He had a couple of rebounds. Bronny James looked pretty good yesterday. And again, I'm not surprised. This is kind of the development that he's on. On the other side of it, Nick Smith did not look as good. Some people are saying send him back to the G League, which makes no sense to me. I'm not saying he won't be back in the G League at some point. If you guys did not know, the Lakers G League team actually played yesterday. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I do want to just quickly give you guys an update that's coming out. Austin Reaves. JJ Redick talked a little bit about Reaves. Reaves obviously has the groin strain. Redick said the following. He said, given the fact that Austin Reeves' pain is low, I would expect him to be back at some point on this road trip. So that's massive, massive, massive news coming out. And it's massive given the fact that the Lakers, if you guys remember, practiced on Tuesday. And it was a shoot-around, or it wasn't like a full 5-on-5 practice. It was a shoot-around on Tuesday, and people are saying that Austin Reeves looked really good out there. He was shooting around. He looked good. He looked healthy. He looked like he could potentially play against the Spurs, who the Lakers played on Wednesday. And, of course, Austin Reeves was ruled out of that game against the Spurs. But one of the things with that was people were saying, hey, maybe the Lakers wanted to just keep him, healthy or at least fully healthy for the road trip. They have 2 days off after that Spurs game, and then on Saturday they have that first road trip. Maybe they're just kind of waiting it out, giving him a couple extra days of rest. And then he was ruled out again for Saturday's game. And that kind of surprised some people, me included. But maybe it's because the Lakers wanted to just give him 1 extra day. So from what I'm kind of seeing, I almost feel like the Lakers know Austin Reeves. He's getting close, just giving him that extra day or 2. And maybe even more than that, the Lakers felt that, hey, Austin Reeves is not really needed against the Atlanta Hawks, which obviously kind of backfired a little bit because they struggled against the Hawks. But maybe JJ Redick's entire plan was, hey, we don't really need him. Just give him that extra day, and then he'll be back against the Hornets. And the Hornets game will be like, I don't think the Hornets are that good of a team. It'll be like the game where Reeves can kind of get fully healthy. You don't have to push him too much. The OKC game's the big one on Wednesday. And of course, you're already 0-1, so you got to be able to beat the Hornets. You got to be at least 1-1 to get into that OKC game. That's going to be a very, very tough game. But if Austin Reeves is fully healthy, Max Kleber's back. Not only didn't really look all that good yesterday, but he only played 11 minutes. So I think as Kleber plays a little bit more, I think at some point he will be a rotational player for the Lakers where you can actually rely on him a little bit, right? And of course, when Austin Reeves gets back, I think that'll also benefit the Lakers just that much more. To me, when I look at what the Lakers have kind of shown us over the last couple of games, they're a very solid basketball team, but they do need to make sure as they go forward, as they get healthy, you have to be able to win the games you should be able to win. The Hawks game was a trap game. The Hornets game, you can't say it's a trap game now because they've already been trapped. I think this one, you're going to be a little bit more aware as you kind of come out. You got to limit the turnovers. You got to play better on the defensive side, the hustle aspect of things. And of course, I think the big thing is just kind of playing defense. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. So if you guys did not know this, the South Bay Lakers had their first game. This was against the Valley Suns. Basically the same time the Lakers ended up playing. But the Lakers had some guys kind of go off, and I want to talk about this. So I have not watched the game. I might watch it a little bit later on today, but Drew Timme dropped 34 points, and I watched some of the highlights. And the way this guy can just create his own shots, it's impressive as hell. Right? Drew Timme, he's a forward. The Lakers just traded for him as well, and we already knew that this is the kind of guy that this guy could be for the Lakers. But he looked really good out there, being able to create his own shots. And, plus 42 on the plus minus, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. He was, he's the same type of player we knew he was coming out of college. We've seen him have some of these games in, as he's played in the G League over the last couple of seasons. This guy is a good scorer of the basketball. And I think for the Lakers, at some point, you're looking at Drew Timme to be called up. So we'll see what the Lakers end up doing with him. Another guy that had a phenomenal game was RJ Davis, who the Lakers obviously ended up giving like that tryout to. He ended up making the G League roster, right? Or at least the Lakers ended up kind of keeping him around. 31 points yesterday. He was 6 of 8 from the three-point line. Just a really, really good game for RJ Davis. And we know Davis can score, right? He showed this to us last year in college. He's one of the best players kind of coming out of the draft, or at least from an offensive production standpoint. And we always kind of have known that, hey, RJ Davis can score a lot of points, a lot of quick, super, super quickly. And it'll be interesting to see how the Lakers kind of handle guys like Davis and Timme. At the same time, guys like Nick Smith Jr., who struggled a little bit. Well, Smith, I think, is a good rotational player. I think he has upside. I think he has potential. But, sometimes he's too confident. And yesterday was one of those, a little too confident, and he finishes 1 of 8. And sometimes I think for the Lakers, you want to try to run your half-court offense as opposed to playing, like one-on-one basketball where you're not getting into your offense, right? And I think yesterday for the Lakers, that was definitely one of the issues that they had. Too much not getting into your offense, too much one-on-one stuff, kind of leads to turnovers and bad passes. We'll see what the Lakers do as they kind of go forward. Again, the road trip does not get easier at this point, but I think the Lakers should be able to bounce back. We'll see what ends up happening. Let me know what you guys think, man. What did you guys see in that game against the Hawks yesterday? How does the Lakers bounce back? They got the Hornets tomorrow. Let me know down in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.